Okay, what is today? Wednesday? Oh, I don't exactly know the actual date. February something. 23rd, maybe? I don't know. I kind of need my phone sometimes. Like, where's the calendar? Okay. Oh, that says January. I think it's time to change. Yeah, this has been a very interesting few weeks. My neighbor, unfortunately, he committed suicide, put himself on the train tracks. Yeah, and I think that he was definitely on something. It was bad. So it's kind of put me a little behind, like with my reading and stuff. Because it's traumatizing. I was like the last person to see him, and I gave him like his last dinner. I didn't know. In college, we had a choice of assignments in our neuroscience class. Do you want to do your report on Alzheimer's, alcoholism, or sexual dysfunction? Well, I chose Alzheimer's. And so far, I haven't really met anybody, maybe one person that has Alzheimer's, to know what to do with that information. I should have picked the alcoholism. I guess I could learn more still, even now. Oh, man, I'm telling you. That liquid courage, alcoholism, is not liquid courage. It is a depressant. You might forget about your problems for the moment, but then your body gets depressed, and then you're opening up the door to suggestions, anything that tries to come into your mind. There's a spirit world, and we don't learn about that so much in regular school, other than maybe they want to take you down a road of ghosts or UFOs. They don't really talk to you much about the spirit world and how there's demonic or angelic entities that, yeah, we are, we're physical flesh. This earthly tent, it lasts for at least up to 120 years. At least that's the promise in the Bible. But if you start putting other things in it, these things, those things, that type of stuff, pills, you start putting those types of things in this earthly flesh, eventually isn't going to last long. And then when you definitely are under the influence of something else, liquid spirits, that those other spiritual spirits can take over and tell you what to do. Go drown yourself, jump over the bridge, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. It's evil. It's wicked. You don't want to listen to those voices. So that's why you want to be sober and be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, he goes about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And strong drink is a mocker. Princes are not made to be drinking strong drink. Priests are not meant to be drinking strong drink. So we do need to be our brothers' keepers, but those are the ones who are the brethren who are following in the way. When it comes to our neighbors, we are not always guaranteed that they're the brethren. They are going to be going in a different way. That's why the Bible warns us specifically and says, do not make friends with an angry man, lest you learn his ways. And do likewise. The world is going in their own way. They're choosing to go their own way. They're not taking the narrow path. They're taking the broad path. Everybody's doing it path. So we don't necessarily, if you want to claim to know the Creator or have a relationship with the Creator, we need to obey the Creator. If he tells us, don't be making friends with an angry man lest you learn his ways, then you need to follow that. If he tells you that princes or priests' lips are not made for strong drink, don't do that. The world will tell you you could do whatever you want. And even in churches that are deceptive, they'll, like Grace Harvest over here, they'll tell you things like, oh, Jesus died for all the sin of the world, therefore there's no more sin in the world. No. 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 Yahuah, that's what religion calls Jesus. He died for the penalty of the curses when we don't follow the truth. But if you look in Hebrews 10:26, it says that if you are trampling on that sacrifice, on the blood of Christ, if you're trampling, I mean, you can look it up, blueletterbible.org. If it says eventually you're going to need to make a sacrifice. And that's not talking about a beast. It's talking about us being the beast. If we're going to be beastly and do what we want, do like that Baphomet people. How do they do that? This one. Baphomet people. Do it, thou wilt. That's the whole of the law. That's satanic Luciferian creed. If you're going to be beastly and just do whatever you want, thinking that there's no, what's it called? Curse or penalty or whatever. No. Hebrews chapter 10:26 says that you will have to make a sacrifice. Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to not obey the truth and not follow in the way, there will be a sacrifice to pay. And you're going to have to make it. It's going to happen. So whether something bad happens to you, your body, or what have you, that's what it says right there. Yeah. Because he did make sacrifices. He came down to earth in the form of man, came through the Virgin Mary. His father, the Spirit, overshadowed Mary at age 14. Yeah. She says, let it be unto me as thou, as you wish, or as you, I mean, it doesn't sound like I'm kind of botching it up a little bit, but this is the gist of it. We all can say, Lord, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And the main thing is that is the foundation, to know that God did come down in the form of the Son of Man through the Virgin wasn't Joseph's son. I know it sounds very far-fetched. This is what our belief system now is based on. That he came through the Spirit. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. The Word created, God's Word created, and didn't have sex with Mary. She was a virgin, hello. But she received the Word engrafted, and creation happened. If God can create everything and anything, he can create man out of the dust of the earth, he can create a woman, Eve, out of Adam's rib. He can come down in the form of the word being spoken and be grafted in and created into someone who is receiving. It's not like the angels lusting after women and going into them sexually and then creating giants. That happened, but it's not the same thing. Otherwise, Yahuah, otherwise known in religion as Jesus, would have been a giant. So it wasn't the same. But I digress. I was looking for the date. What's today's date? Today's Wednesday. What's this? The 22nd of February? Yeah, today's Wednesday. It says right here, second day of Rosh Chodesh. Oh, what does that mean? Yeah, I got this from Beth Emunah. It's a calendar. Cool, and it has some, I believe these are called Jewish holidays. Rosh Chodesh is the religious observance of Judaism, by the way. See, they rely on the lunar calendar, lunar only. So, in the book of Jubilees, it says that we're supposed to be going by the solar. Lunar is the moon. Solar is the sun. We're supposed to be going by the sun and the moon to know what day it is. But we haven't learned that type of thing. I mean, when we get your little Hallmark calendar at the store, it's a solar calendar because it's a Gregorian calendar. Now, this particular one right here, this is kind of cool because it does have, let me show you. I don't know if you can see this or not. Is it backwards? It might be. You might not be able to see this, but it is kind of like Gregorian, which would be solar. But then under here, they would have the different, what does that say? Shavat Adar. I don't know exactly what that means. Oh, I think that must mean a month that they have Shavat. And then it gets down here to Adar. Adar. So that's another month under there. So apparently today, on the lunar calendar, today is the first day of Adar. It's a new month. Now I was out there and I saw the moon last night. It was a sliver and it looked like two little horns, two little horns. How do you do that? Like that? Two little horns. And it looked weird, like blackened moon with two little illuminated light and horn. And I was thinking, oh, I wonder if that's the lunar Jewish, what they call it, the new moon. That's what the lunar people call the new moon. It's like the sliver in Judaism. And I was thinking, man, I need to pay attention. I've been looking at the skies, but I kind of see freaking chemtrails all the time. And then we had heavy duty clouds. Couldn't see until last night. I think it was like 7 o'clock at night. I could see the little tiny sliver in the west, and it was low. And I was thinking, okay, I really have to learn how to tell the time and the day for the signs and the seasons according to how Yahuah, our creator, told us that we should tell time. Like these calendars are man's writings and all that jazz, but they turn them around, twist them, put new labels on, put new names, new dates and all that jazz. So all this kind of stuff is wrong here. We have to know how to read the signs, seasons, times according to the sky. So this is interesting. I'll have to study this little calendar here. So today, according to this Jewish type of lunar calendar, they say that that little sliver that looks like this with the two horns, I'll read this, is the arrival of the new moon. That's what they call the new moon. I still don't know about that yet, me personally, but most of the people, that's what they call it. The arrival of the new moon. That's what they say. Is an occasion for special prayers and celebration. It is named Rosh Chodesh and means the beginning of the new month. Rosh usually means the head. And the Chodesh, okay, what about Yariak? Yariak, doesn't that mean moon? What does Chodesh mean? Let me see what this says. Okay, so it is observed for 1 or 2 days. When there are 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, the first is the last day of the preceding Jewish month. Rosh Chodesh is announced in the synagogue of the preceding Sabbath. What? Except before the Sabbath, before Rosh Hashanah or Rosh Hashanah, with a special prayer for the new month, the Birchat HaKodesh. Now, I need to know what these things mean. The Chodesh. HaKodesh means the Chodesh. Well, then they talk about Sabbath candle lighting time. Times have been adjusted for daylight savings time where applicable. So let me see. What does that mean? Oh, I see. So, okay, I gotcha. So the Jewish people that do the lunar calendar, they light a candle on the Sabbath, and it's right at the time when it gets dark, because they have all these times down here. See all these times for different places, like Chicago and all those different places, all like right at the time that the sun goes down. They light a candle, even though we know that candles have wax, and they didn't have wax way back then. They had oil and menorah with a stick, a little, what do they call it? Wick. Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of like man's things like that. Yeah. So I don't do that. And okay. So this is kind of interesting because I'm looking at this calendar here that man made, and that shows like in February, the Gregorian calendar, which is with the sun only, tells you the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th is the Saturdays. See that? But then the lunar people tell you that it's the 13th of Shabbat, the 20th Shabbat, the 27th of Shabbat, and the 4th of Adar. I get it, how there's a Hebrew calendar and then there's a Gregorian calendar. And I don't mind going back to the ancient paths and going with the Hebrew. The thing is that the rabbinical people can add up to 30 days to their 354 calendar. That is going to throw off the Sabbath altogether. So I don't know. I was wondering if this can let me know. I guess, nope. I guess that the lunar people from the rabbinical calendar, they still do Saturday as their Shabbat. But see, that's the problem. They're putting it with the name of the day. Shabbat would be under Saturday. And I have a feeling that we need to go by the moon and the sun up there. That lets us know the day of the week, which is the number of the day of the week. I'm just saying, like, they would have the lunar people would have their Shabbat on the 13th, the 20th, the 27th, and the 4th. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. You see how confusing it is? That's confusing. This kind of stuff right here, reminds me a little bit of math, calculus, algebra, and how they switch things and do a formula and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, we have to have the Gregorian calendar because everybody, hey, you're supposed to be here at work today. Wednesday is your day of work. You got to be here. You have customers. So we kind of have to go by that. But the same token, then you've got this other theory of lunar. But I don't really know. How do you tell the time with the sun and the moon? Like to me, the sun is one way, the moon is another way, but in between, to use both would be the middle, the straight way. That's the way that is very narrow. Those other two, these two are very broad. You have the rabbinical people on the lunar, and then you've got the Gregorian Roman on the solar, and there's very broad ways that people are telling the time or the days. And yeah, to have a different language there, to be Shavat and Adar, you're relabeling what our culture calls February. I say February, but I guess it's February. That's hard to say. February. Well, anyways, at least I got the right, I don't know, calendar page of man's doings on the proper time something or other. I don't know. But last night's moon was very interesting. I did see it. It looked really interesting, like a big pill, like a pill on the front, dark. And then down here on the bottom was a illuminated sliver, which according to the rabbinical people, they call this the new moon. And on there, it said that this could happen 2 nights. One would be over there for the other month, Shavat. And last night, what was that last night? Yeah. Yeah, last night was Shavat. And then tonight, I'm going to look again. It should probably be the same. And they're saying it's for this night, Adar, because we're in a new month. There, I don't know. How do we not know that they relabeled what a new moon looks like? Because this is my line of thinking. If it says in the Bible, what was it? The 3rd or 4th day that God made the sun, moon, and stars. And he said that he made the sun very bright to rule the day, and the moon, which is the lesser light, to rule the night. Wouldn't he have made it so that it was a full moon the first time? Or would he have, like chicken and the egg, which is it? Or would he have made it the little sliver thing? I don't know. I need to look into that more. But anyways, let me change topics here, because I originally wanted to look something else up. Hang on a second. Okay, so I was watching one of my other videos because I need to pay or tender the statement, bill, what have you. And I looked at the comment. One of my subscribers said I need to enforce the UCC3. So I'm gonna read this UCC 3-306, and let's see if we can find out how to enforce something. Let's see what it says. Section 3 of the UCC code 306 claims to an instrument. A person taking an instrument other than a person having rights of a holder in due course is subject to a claim of a property or possessory right in the instrument or its proceeds, including a claim to rescind a negotiation and to cover the instrument or its proceeds. A person having rights of a holder in due course takes free of the claim to the instrument. As I was reading this, I was thinking about when I went to the car dealership and I filled out an application for extension of my credit. So what does this mean? A person taking an instrument? Does that mean that the car dealership? Other than a person, me, having rights of a holder in due course, that would be me. So this person taking the instrument, the car dealership, is subject to a claim of a property or possessory right in the instrument or its proceeds. Yeah. The people at the car dealership or the people at the utility bill place or your cell phone, when you send them that instrument, They have it in their hand. We, the people, we have the rights, of a holder in due course. That would be us. Those people over there, they're subject to a claim, meaning we can make a claim of our property or possessory right in the instrument or its proceeds, including a claim that would be us. We can rescind in negotiation and to recover the instrument or its proceeds. That instrument, which is the application, we can recover that. A person having rights of a holder in due course takes free of the claim to the instrument. We're the ones that are the person having the rights of a holder in due course. What does that mean, takes free? Takes free of the claim. I don't know what that means. Oh, that's a good one, though. That's a really good one. I like. Hey, should we download this PDF? Let's do it. Let's see if there's more. Because this could have just been like, oh man, what's this? I have to sign up for something? And I don't think so. Let's go back to the statute. What's this part 3 enforcement? Yeah, we want to enforce this. Hey, wow, look at all this stuff. Part 3, enforcement of instruments. Person entitled to enforce instrument. Holder in due course. Value and consideration. Yeah. Overdue instrument. Defenses and claims and recoupment. Claims to an instrument. Notice of breach of fiduciary duty. Proof of signatures and status as holder in due course. Enforcement of lost, destroyed, or stolen instrument. Yeah. Yeah. Effective instrument on obligation for which taken accord and satisfaction by use of instrument. Lost, destroyed, or stolen cashier's check. What? Teller's check or certified check? Claims to an instrument. Hey, I mean, we should be looking at all of these. Let's look at 306 though. I mean, maybe we're going to go back to the same thing. Yeah, there it is. All right, let me just go forward and see, what is this one? Oh, here's 307. Notice of breach of fiduciary duty. In this section, fiduciary means an agent, trustee, partner, corporate officer, or director, or other representative owing a fiduciary duty with respect to an instrument. Represented person means the principal, beneficiary, partnership, limited liability company, corporation, or other person to whom the duty stated in paragraph 1 is owed. Paragraph 1. I hate it when they do that. Are you talking about this? Is that a paragraph? I guess so. So now B, if what is that? If an instrument is taken from a fiduciary for payment. What? Or collection. I'm just wondering. I'm thinking in my mind about when you go make an appointment at a doctor or at a pastor's office for counseling or something. They get paid. They get paid for that. You know that, right? They get paid for that. So they've got to be putting in something some type of instrument, maybe an application, or there's got to be something taken from a fiduciary for payment or collection or for value. Like if you go, let's say you make a phone call and you call your pastor. I want to make an appointment with Pastor whoever to have marriage counseling or some type of advice or something. They write it down in the books, you know, because so this person's going to get paid when you go there, and then they're going to give you false advice, and then they got value. We didn't. All right, 2, the taker has knowledge of the fiduciary status of the fiduciary. Oh, and 3, the represented person, wow, makes a claim to the instrument, wow, or its proceeds, whoa, on the basis that the transaction of the fiduciary is a breach of fiduciary duty. The following rules apply. Let's see. Notice of breach of fiduciary duty by the fiduciary is notice of the claim of the represented person. In the case of an instrument payable to the represented person or the fiduciary as such, the taker has notice of the breach of fiduciary duty if the instrument is 1, taken in payment, whoa, of or as security for a debt known by the taker to be the personal debt of the fiduciary. I wonder if when you go to your church or something, do they take your social security number? Like, do you fill out some type of application thing? Like, you know, when you go to the dentist or the doctor, they have you fill out an application and then you got to put like the social security number. I have a feeling that that's what happens. Yeah, it's been a while, but I can't remember. Oh, that's wild. So they are actually your fiduciary. Wow. Number 2, taken in a transaction known by the taker to be for the personal benefit of the fiduciary. I wonder what this means. Or 3, deposited to an account other than an account of the fiduciary. Wow. Oh my gosh. I used to have a pastor that used to be a car dealership guy. And then he became eventually a pastor. I wonder if it's the same exact thing. I have a feeling that it is. Yikes. So they have you fill out an application. Those applications go to some finance people. These pastors maybe not even know about that. But I think that these financial people in the background, those are the ones who dip into the treasury and get into the Social Security treasury stuff. Wow, that's wild. That's heavy duty, man. Because these, this is wild. Wow, my brain can explode. So these nonprofit organizations, 501c3 churches, they're doing the exact same thing as these corporations, like these car dealerships and these medical places. Are they all nonprofit or foreign corporations or trusts? I mean, this is wild. Because when I see the word fiduciary, I'm automatically thinking trust. And well, if you have an LLC or you're with the state, then you're with the trust Oh my gosh. It's all commerce. I mean, they're making money. We're not. Phew. So this has got to do with Roman law. Oh man. This is wild. So, all these corporations, including churches, they got to do like what? They got to do taxes. So, but then if they're a nonprofit organization, they have some type of they don't have to pay taxes. I don't get it. Is it like a trust? I think so. Wow. This is wild. This is the UCC, huh? Uniform Commercial Code. Oh, commerce. And it's a code. Okay. Uniform. All right. So what do we have? 3, deposited to an account. Oh, other than an account of the fiduciary as such, or an account of the represented person. So when you go to your counseling appointment or your dentist appointment or your doctor's appointment, they have an account number for you as a person. Interesting. 3, if an instrument is issued by the represented person or the fiduciary as such and made payable to the fiduciary personally, yeah. I don't remember paying any money when I went to the church counselor. So they got to be getting money through the treasury using our social security number, which means we had to have signed up somewhere, or maybe when they had a directory, they signed us up. How did they get our social security number? I don't remember ever giving that. Don't remember ever giving that number. The taker, who's that? Does not have notice of the breach of fiduciary duty unless the taker knows what of the breach of fiduciary duty. Who's the taker? Oh, like your pastor or the dentist or the doctor? Oh, so they're the ones that are taking, they don't, oh, dang, is this really hidden even from them? Dang. This is wild. My goodness. If an instrument is issued by the represented person, like you give them an application or you sign up for something, you register the person. Wow. You want to register for this women's retreat? Wow. I'm pretty sure that that's how they got it. The social security number, if that's when they asked. Or the fiduciary as such, and made payable to the fiduciary personally. Excuse me, the taker does not have notice of the breach of fiduciary duty unless the taker knows of the breach of fiduciary duty. This is wild. 4, if an instrument is issued by the represented person or the fiduciary as such to the taker as payee, the taker has notice of the breach of fiduciary duty if the instrument is, number 1, taken in payment of or as security for a debt known by the taker to be the personal debt of the fiduciary. 2, taken in a transaction known by the taker to be for the personal benefit of the fiduciary, or 3, deposited to an account other than an account of the fiduciary as such, or an account of the represented person. I mean, I remember Wells Fargo getting in trouble for making all these accounts with fictitious names, but I guess all of our names are fictitious when they're all capitalized. So are we all getting accounts made when we go to these particular businesses? I think so. Do you see how this stuff is being hidden, like the occult? Kind of like this calendar thing. It's the same. I see it as the same. It's the occult. It's hidden. And here, right before our eyes, right before our very eyes, up in the sky, Yahuah is clearly giving us his ways up there. We're supposed to know what that is. Problem is, like on this calendar thing, and I'm switching back because it's an analogy here. Okay, so like on this calendar thing, let me take it down. This is their paperwork. This is like their bookwork, you know. Man's accounting principles. They are putting new labels of names like they do on your statements. You know, when you get a statement from, like, let's say your Edison bill or something. This is like that. This is like that. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things are kind of the same. This right here is Edison bill. This right here is a calendar. This has solar and it has lunar, but it's not the truth. It's not loony solar. It's not both. It's one or the other. This, I think, is the same thing. This is man's way of documenting on a piece of paper. They're going to change your name like they changed the dates of the month over here. They're going to change your name to all caps now. Then they're going to say, here's some numbers down here that, you know, you have to pay. Just like, oh my gosh, it's the same. This is the same, you guys. My mind is, wow, opening up. I'm getting my understanding opened up to see the trickery that's going on. So now we got to enforce this. I went back to the UCC 3603. Thank you very much, one of my subscribers, for reminding me to enforce. Let me see, share the screen. We're going to share it. To enforce the UCC 3. Very interesting. That 307 really kind of opened my eyes a little bit here. Wow. This is wild. I'm just on the brink of understanding. I'm going to have to watch this all over again because here's the one right here. 3306 claims to an instrument. Instrument is that piece of paper, like your statement or that Hallmark calendar. That's an instrument too. These are mechanisms, schemes to make money on paper. So this is, okay, so let me just see this for a second. What is 305? Let's go there. Let's read this. Except as stated in subsection B, the right to enforce the obligation of a party to pay an instrument is subject to the following. Number one, a defense of obligor based on one, infancy of the obligor to the extent it is a defense to a simple contract. Two, duress. Yeah. Lack of legal capacity. Hello, I love this. This is fantastic. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love this. This is great. Duress. Lack of legal capacity or illegality of the transaction. Yeah, which under other law nullifies the obligation of the obligor. 3, fraud that induced the obligor to sign the instrument with neither knowledge, hello, nor reasonable opportunity to learn of its character or its essential terms. Or 4, discharge of the obligor in insolvency proceedings. Right here is really opening up my eyes, especially right here when you see duress. Were you under duress when you were trying to get a car? Because your car was broken down? And did you have a lack of legal capacity because they weren't exactly telling you everything, were they now? No. And the illegality of that whole transaction, that they were trying to get you into a loan when you already had paid for the car with a social security number and your signature, because they were using your name and number to be representatives of a trust. Oh my gosh, right here. Boom. This is fantastic. The same thing as when you went to your pastor and you filled out some type of, I don't know, permission slip or whatever to see the pastor for your problem. And you were under duress because you had a problem and there was a lack of legal capacity. Isn't that right? Oh my gosh. This is with everything. Everything is a trust. And this is all breach of trusts. That's what it is. The car dealership, the house, going to the pastor or the churches. It's all been a breach of trust. That's why your heart is hurting. That's why. Because you've been sinned against and you didn't know it. This is wild. It's kind of the same thing as this calendar here. This is a total breach of trust. Right here. Where is this thing? Look. This is a lie. This is a lie. This is a total breach of trust. We've been conditioned to follow this thing. When we're supposed to be following with our eyes up there in the heavens, in the sky, and going with Yahuah's way, not going with man's way. We've been captured in our mind to believe this lie because they show us some type of a globe that's spinning, and then they teach us about planets, and then they try to tell us about aliens from other planets, and that we're spinning out of control, and oh my God, we're gonna die, and the meteors and the whatever. What the heck? Because these men, rabbinical and Jesuits, they're liars. They're thieves and liars, teaching us lies, indoctrinating us inculcating us every single day. We have to look at our phones. We have to know what day it is. What time is it? I'm supposed to be somewhere. This construct, we've been captured. This is a lie. We need to learn the truth. We need to look with our eyes. When you stand on a very high hill or go on an airplane, and you look down, you're going to see the plane of Earth. You're going to see squares and flatness, maybe a little bit of cookie action because it looks a little raised on those mountains. That's the land mass. That's Earth where we live on land. But when you look up, it's sky. Then there's the luminaries there too. Those are only lights. They're not planets. We don't live on a planet as much as we live on Earth, land. And then there's the rakia, or the firmament above us, kind of like a terrarium, keeping us safe. And the sun, moon, and stars are up and through here. They're up here. We don't spin or move. I don't exactly know how it goes, but I know that those clouds, I've seen the clouds. They move. Whoosh, the clouds go, because there's some type of a air current up there. But the stars and the luminaries are above that system. So I've seen those photography pictures of the stars look like you're going in a circle. I don't exactly know how that works. I did take 2 astronomy courses, but I don't know. What do you think, Karma? You want to go for a walk? You want to go outside and look at the sky? It's cold out here. That's why I got all this stuff on. But this is a very interesting connection. I never would have thought the calendar has got to do with bill statements. But it just came to me. That's kind of cool. It's all fake stuff. But hey, yeah. Man's pushing us to do what they want us to do. But they're not wanting to be the fiduciary. They're not wanting to take the ownership. They want to say that there's no God. Then they want to take all the benefits and be like God. Right? Then make you the liable person, say it's you, your problem. You're the one that's doing it all. When you went to them, the false authority, and they give you the advice, legal advice, and you went and did their legal advice, but they didn't hold their end of the bargain. So where's the consideration? Right? Well, karma is talking to me right now, so I think we're going to have to go out. But this has been enlightening. Very interesting. I'm going to have to listen to this again. Have a good day.